time seems to be flying. Yesterday when I uploaded that video, the computer crashed when I was uploading, so I had to actually upload it twice. I was like, oh my goodness, and it's such a long video too. I was actually wondering if the thing notified everybody, like when it half uploaded, and then when people clicked on it, it'd be like, hey, what's going on? Actually, one thing that was interesting yesterday with that person that had the rare console, the Nintendo PlayStation, he was even saying how everyone from around the world, like in terms of venues, asks him to be at a location, and they basically help him do that. But locally, like for venues, they actually don't even try to help him as much. It's just, okay, you're in the area, I have a space for you, like, you know, come with your stuff. And he's apparently never showed it, like, I guess in local events in that way. It's kind of funny to think about. It makes me think how fast people forget, like people like himself, for example, they need the support. If you want them to keep doing what they're doing, try to help them in every way they can. Because if they're not taken care of, then how can they help other people, right? I think that's true for everything. It's just amazing how fast people forget that at times. I was trying to read all your guys' comments and stuff too. I know, Scotty, you were saying you updated the Mavic and you were actually able to fly in more places than before. That's kind of interesting. I mean, if anything, people have been contacting me being worried that that firmware update will basically restrict them on the places that they can fly. So it's kind of interesting. You say you can even fly in even more places now. I wonder if anyone else there has the same revelation, if that makes sense. And speaking of drones, one of the things I wanted to talk about yesterday, I read this headline like, new drone safety regulations do work. I was like, what? Who wrote this? Transport Canada or something? And then upon further reading, I was looking at this, okay, it's a press release from a company, so it's probably advertising for themselves, but still, it made me want to read it and say, okay, well, what's going on here? Because as you all know, like in my opinion anyways, those regulations or laws are really ridiculous and they don't really help anybody. All right, let me just finish my martial arts first. I'm a little behind. That would have been a mistake, huh? Okay, everything done. So yeah, so about that drone topic, apparently this was by a company called In-Drone Robotics. It says actually here in BC. It does drone supplies and it's a service company or drone supplier. So I guess for them, apparently they're the very first compliant SFOC company in Canada. And apparently, I guess to them, their narrative on this thing is, hey, the regulations with this SFOC, they make sense. It helps to promote drone safety in terms of the public perception because the media is just portraying negative news all over the place. So this is good in terms of the regulations. And basically they go on to explain what the SFOC means for a company, like how they work directly with Transport Canada, how they are deemed as really safe. As well, they kind of further emphasize the point, for example, saying their drone pilots rather, take the same ground school as private pilots as full-size airplane. It's a way to say, again, they're really safe compared to everyone else, I guess you can say. Now, generally speaking, I'm not entirely sure if they're talking about regulations are good in terms of a commercial pilot, like in their own industry, but I will assume, since the title says new drone safety regulations do work, that they're actually talking about the recreational flyers. And to that, again, I just completely disagree in many ways with people like this. It just reminds me again, were these the only people that the government talks to, that they're buddies with, are these commercial companies? Because in many ways, it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, in terms of safety, for example, there was one quote here for one of the articles they actually linked, which actually promotes their company. He says here, Reese is optimistic Canada will catch up, but first the public has to trust that drones are safe, he says. We have to make these things bulletproof. I was thinking too in some funny ways, because they're basically talking about here how they believe that the public needs to feel that drones are safe, they need to trust them. At the same time, the media portrays too much negativity. I mean, maybe it's just me looking from the outside as a recreational drone flyer to, like, say, a big, huge organization like this that's obviously really close with Transport Canada. Why haven't I ever seen big companies like this condemn, like, say, the CBC for those fake drone videos? Wouldn't a company tooting their horns about having this SFOC being so trusted by Transport Canada, in a sense, play into that media narrative of the hysteria that, oh man, all like drones are dangerous, like for recreational flyers, so you better get all this training. Any other drone you see aside from our company is dangerous. Like, doesn't that actually help push the negativity out there? Like, shouldn't companies in general be saying, no, they're not all dangerous? Like, same thing, it's just certain people. I mean, in terms of the thought of these new drone safety regulations do work, if you're talking about the new interim laws, in my opinion, they do not work. You know what makes things more safe for drone flyers? practice and education, not these dumb regulations. If anything, I could argue these regulations actually make more dangerous drone flyers, even though I showed people before. I can't get out and practice anymore because of the ridiculous laws. So how does that make me more safe? I mean, imagine driving a car where they said you're not allowed to do circles around an empty parking lot anymore for practice. How does that make you safe? I think one of the funny thing about this too is how the company in general says it's about trying to gain the public trust. I would say, what's more effective, for example? A corporation saying, hey, I'm safe, I have all this business, Transport Canada trusts me. Or a person like me, for example, that does things such as going out to the general public, showing them drones in an everyday life to show there's nothing to fear about. And they could actually use it in their everyday life. But hey, guess what? These no drone laws actually stop people from, like me, the responsible flyers, from actually trying to educate people more, because I can't fly it anywhere, like in the general public, to show them what it's like, unless it's in a really far away place in the middle of nowhere. So how is that actually helping people if you think about it? And I would say just common sense in general, just because someone has a quote professional license doesn't mean they can't have accidents or someone will do something dumb. I mean, again, when those interim laws came out, wasn't there pilots that crashed? Weren't there drunk pilots actually that got charged or something like that, like not too long ago? I mean, you can't say, for example, just because you're a company that has this quote SFOC, you're necessarily safer than someone flying it for fun. I mean, don't fly in dumb places. I mean, we all agree. Like, if it was flying like near an airplane doing a transportation, there's no way a person like me should be doing that. That should be left up to the company with all the rules and all that. But if it's someone like realistically flying here just for fun, for example, like in an open park or something like that, I mean, come on. I mean, if anything, I would personally think it's hurting like the adoption rate of it, because you're stopping, say, people like me that just go to the parks, they fly for fun, they take aerial videography. I mean, that actually helps to promote the whole tech and hobby in general. I mean, how does that help you if you're stopping people like me from doing that? Actually, it's kind of like a car too. I've actually seen people with a Class 7 license, which is a novice one here, actually drive better than some people with a Class 5 license here, which is a full license. So again, you can't necessarily say the person with the higher license is always safer and all that people should just trust things based on a piece of paper. I mean, I would imagine trying to get the tech more out there to the general public in ways they care about and the ways that they can relate to in their everyday life will help more than just people for commercial reasons, as an example. I mean, I say the point again, I don't think it's the regulation that makes things more safe. It's practice and education, because it's not just a matter of seeing, oh, a company uses this drone, so that's okay. It's about, for example, all these hysteria, the fake news about drones blowing up, people thinking they're weapons. So part of it is the education. And until I see like a larger company like this actually doing that to tell people, hey, to educate them in a way, you don't need to be afraid when you see a drone like this. It's not gonna whip out like a bomb or something like that. It's not going to crash into you like crazy. You have to basically educate people. Don't worry about it. But when you say stuff like this, like, no, yeah, they're dangerous. If you ever see anybody out in there in the public, except for us, the commercial company, then they're dangerous. That's not helping the cause, in my opinion. In my opinion, this is just further dividing the fact that for some odd reason, a commercial pilot automatically gets clearance as a safe flyer for some reason, and a recreational person is automatically dangerous, like when you read stuff like this. I mean, again, with anything else, I mean, just like a vehicle, I don't necessarily say a taxi driver or a bus driver or whatever is necessarily safer than the regular everyday driver. I mean, there's factors involved. Even for this company with the drones, who knows? Maybe someone will have a bad day. Maybe he'll get drunk and he'll fly it in a really dumb way. Who knows? But basically, there has to be everyone has to be on the same level. I mean, just because you have a license, you might be more prepared and knowledgeable, but you're not necessarily more safe or should be the only source that the public sees as, quote, safe. I was actually surprised that they put out this press release like during the mid of the month, because as you know, there should be kind of a new laws in place, or a proposed one like next month. So is this a way of commercial companies saying, no, we love it the way it is, keep those guys completely grounded? It also makes me think too, it's a little unfortunate that I'm sure there are commercial companies that actually know like these laws are ridiculous, but they just don't want to say anything because obviously they'll get a bad reputation, or who knows. Kind of makes me wonder in some ways how many companies like this, for example, are in the background just like supporting like those interim laws the way they are. I mean, it'd be kind of interesting just for like a person like me to see, because in many ways, again, those laws just make no sense when you break it down factually. I even said before, if it's truly about safety, take the money and commercial aspect out of it, then let's see what people's opinions will be like. So hopefully people will be more educated about this in the future. So when the new proposed laws come out, people will actually do something that's more rational as opposed to all this fear mongering. All right, see you guys later.